course. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. Hello, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. I think Table Topics session is often the most exciting session of the whole evening. However, it also arouses the most amount of anxiety and fear. But I want to share with you one simple principle that will help you overcome that fear. You may go to many seminars and speeches and people will stand in front of you and you'll pay them lots of money to tell you how you can overcome this fear. And I'm going to just share one simple principle which will save you a whole lot of money. It's written in Dale Carnegie's book about public speaking and how to communicate effectively. And it's simple. He describes it with an analogy. He says, have you ever seen people on a train journey and as they're looking out the window they see a field of horses? And of course, some horses are by the side of the train track and they're nonchalantly eating away without any concern or fear of the train speeding by with lots of sound and lots of noise. And others, they start bolting and running away. And the answer to why one stays still and one is fearful and runs away is simple. The one that stays still has had many trains go by it. It's used to it from practice. Those who've done table topics, I'm not suggesting you're horses. However, you are people who have had trains go past you metaphorically many times. I was very impressed. I'm going to give each person feedback, if I may, and then most of the improvements I'm going to share tonight is just down to one simple, if you like, principle, one simple way of improving, and that's to extend your table topics. So first up we had Nikita, and what an interesting table topics. Coming from India herself, she had, if you like, a peach of a table topic because just a few days ago it was the Indian Independence Day. And she picked up on that straight away. Things that are going on in the news, they're things you can readily bring to mind, bring to memory when it comes to answering table topics. And she did just that, even though she hadn't been in a country herself when the Independence Day was actually happening. She relied on, if you like, her cultural currency, things that were going on around her to great effect. However, I think there's one way she could have possibly extended her answer, and that was to play onto the bigger narrative of India and Pakistan. There's so much history from 1947 that's going on there. And so don't feel that you're constrained by the table topic itself. You can step outside of that and, if you like, flex your intellectual muscles. And also, I love the stance here and here. Very beautiful. Super. However, we're not on the catwalk, and I would love to see you maybe taking the hand down from here and down from here. And I know it's a little bit difficult, but a little bit more natural gesturing to the audience to say, look, I'm sharing with you. I want you to take away something. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. You have a very interesting and rich natural voice. I suspect you have done public speaking before. And did you notice how he stepped aside and spoke to his younger self? What did that do to us? Well, it does something very interesting. It made it more believable. He drew us into the narrative. And I thought that was brilliant and excellent, how you did that and how you extended it. Just an improvement that you can take for future times. I'd love to see you extend on one of your points. You talked about resilience. Maybe you could extend on that and say, you're going to go through a really difficult time. You're going to get bullied by those kids, but I want you to have resilience. And when he calls you a bad name, I want you to punch him. Or something like that. Can you see what I mean by extending a specific point that you were giving advice from? I think that would be very helpful and very good. Next up, we had, of course, Chris. Chris, you have a wonderfully humble approach. Humility is one of the greatest gifts a public speaker can have, because humility will determine that the audience will never become resentful to you. You also, with that humility, had humour and drew us in straight away to your narrative, to your story, which I found hilarious, about vegetarians and dogs running after some people. If I would say, as a point of improvement, we often tell I work in school, tell the children when they're writing to show, don't tell. So instead of talking about maybe adjectives, I was scared, you could say, I saw the perspiration running down our foreheads as we trembled at the knees. You show that you're scared and you don't tell. So you less on the adjectives and more on the descriptive narrative. Well done, I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next one in your next speech. Then we have Tony. Tony, I really enjoyed the fact you came up here and you said, you know what, actually I don't wear much. So you went for the opposite. Did everybody notice that? How he didn't necessarily answer the question straight off. He just went for the reverse. That's a good tactic to use because it buys you time. he went for the opposite. I don't wear much. But then eventually got halfway down to his body and got to his wallet. He was running a bit for it, and I was a bit concerned where he was going to go next. However, I would have liked to have seen you extend it by talking about not what was not in your wallet, i.e. money, but what was in your wallet. Maybe a picture of your girlfriend or wife or whatever, and that would have extended your answer. Ravi, I really enjoyed you coming up and talking about your rapping. I remember listening to Eminem, you better lose yourself in the movement, you moment, you want it, you better never let it go. Da, 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 da. I used to think I was an Eminem, but my mum said no, you're not. Really, really well done. You have an unconscious competence up here, and you can tell that through one reason, and that was just simply your hand gestures. You were very natural. I'd like you to extend your answer by homing in on one area, one example, one story in life where you've had to use that resilience. You've had to say, you know what, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to choose success over failure. And last up, Vid. Vid, teaching, money management. We all need a bit of money management. Where is Vid? Where is Vid? There we go, Vid. I knew you were there. Show me the money. We all need a bit of money management. Education is close to my heart. I work in a school. You were able to share in a slightly humorous way why that's important, but I'd love you to have extended that in a little bit more detail, maybe about how that looked like in the education system, and maybe more importantly why that is very important in these times of austerity. You could have played on that kind of, if you like, cultural narrative that's going on in society. But you got up here, you're very natural. I don't know if it was your first time, but if it was, you've got many more to go and many more to really shine with. Last thing I will say, because my time is up, is don't forget bridging statements. Statements that buy you time, which is, have you ever known ... I would like to tell you. Do you know why I've said that? All these bridging statements buy you time, engage the audience, and allow you to synthesize what your next answer will be. Well done, guys. Fantastic topic.